I'm sure that most of you are aware by now that the new generation of Pokemon, Generation 10, has been revealed. We've got to see glimpses of the region, characters, and what excites any Pokemon fan the most, a set of new starters, browt, pombon, and gequa. Of course, as a Pokemon artist, I have this urge to try and predict what their evolution will look like, so that's what we're going to see today. Let's start with Pombon, the fire-type starter, and what seems to be the fan favourite of the bunch. Its description says the following: the area below its throat glows faintly from the heat-generating organ within its lungs. This Pokemon is guileless and friendly. Apparently, there was a leak a few days before the Pokemon presentation that vaguely described the starters: a gecko that shoots water through its tail, an angry bird with leafy eyebrows, and a fire dog that explodes. They even provided a little sketch, and while it didn't look that similar, in the end the concept seemed to be close enough to what we actually got to consider. So for Pombon's evolution, I decided to go with an explosive dog, inspired by the provided sketch. I based it on the Tibetan Mastiff, the fluffiest dog you will ever see, and I decided to make it look super silly, as I think middle stages are a good opportunity to make silly Pokemon. Also, a good way to make them a little more distinct from its cute first stage or cool looking evolution. At level 16, Pombon will evolve into Bombastiff, a fire-type Pokemon. The core of this Pokemon constantly heats up, making it create small explosions from time to time. This, however, makes its soft fur turn crispy and curly. Of course, its ability is Blaze. But what kind of ability could this Pokemon have? Well, I decided to go with Fur Coat, as it's very fluffy. Speaking of fluffy, that could probably also work, so whatever you think is best. For its final evolution, I've decided to go a little further with the concept and got inspired by the lion dog guardians that you can often see as statues in temples. So, while you won't really be able to see it in the final design, I'm thinking that it attacks by creating a ball of fire from its paws, which it then throws towards its enemies and it then explodes. Like this, it also referenced the lion dog guardians, as they often carry a sphere with them. It's also a concept I can see working in the anime, as dogs like to play with balls, so maybe it can still have this playful personality from time to time. As for its design, I decided to give it much darker fur to resemble the smoke from an explosion, which also gives some nice contrast with the small explosions that come out of its fur. At level 36, Bombastiff will evolve into Inishishi, the lion dog Pokemon, revered as a guardian of ancient temples. It absorbs fire energy into its muscular paws, forming blazing spheres that it hurls at its foes. Upon impact, these fireballs explode with incredible force, scorching anything in their path. As you can see, I added the fairy type due to it being based on a mythical creature, and I imagine it getting exploding moves such as Self-Destruct, Explosion, and Misty Explosion. As for its stats, I decided to turn it into a mixed attacker to go with both type of explosions, and also a good special defense, that together with its hidden ability would make it a decently tanky Pokemon. Next we have Gequa. Its description goes the following: Gequa has a short and bulbous tail which it uses to launch springy balls of water. It has an intelligent, shrewd and haughty personality. I've seen many artists go for a water and psychic evolution for it, and while it definitely feels like the most obvious choice, I decided to go with something different. I ignored all of the traits from the descriptions except for one of them, the tail that shoots water. But it's really hard to explain what inspired the Final Evolution's design with this middle stage, as it's more of a transitional design, so I'll just show it to you and continue explaining with its final evolution. At level 16, Gequa will evolve into Aquana. It shoots water through its tail to move at really fast speeds. If threatened, it would twist its tail forward and shoot out a powerful blast of water to scare off any foe. And next we have Gequa's final evolution. I decided to base it on an iguana, as they are surprisingly good swimmers, but instead of having its tail always plump like Gequa, it actually has a long thin tail that inflates when storing water inside. I wanted it to be able to shoot water through its tail and hands, making it able to fly for a brief moment in a similar manner to Iron Man or those water jetpacks that look like so much fun. So it's actually also a flying type Pokemon, even though it doesn't look like it in this pose. But here's a quick sketch so that you have an idea what I mean. This also provides a bit of goofiness to the design, which I feel like makes it look more like a Pokemon. At level 36, Aquana will evolve into Iguanami, the water jet Pokemon. It absorbs water through its hands that it then deposits inside its tail for later use. It can then use the water to shoot it out of its tail or hands in order to move at high speeds or even elevate itself in the air. As for its hidden ability, I went with Swift Swim. I think it makes sense that with rain present in the battlefield, it has an infinite supply of water for it to constantly absorb and use as fuel. And for its stats, it's a special attacker with decent speed to go with its hidden ability, so with the rain up, it can hit pretty hard and fast. And finally, we have Browt. Its description says the following: Browt uses its eyebrow leaves to photosynthesize. It's energetic and lively, but also rather clumsy. This doesn't really give me much to work with, but then I noticed its category. Apparently, Browt is a bean chick Pokemon. The bean thing makes me think of a beanstalk. Specifically, the story of Jack and a beanstalk. So I decided to go this route and make its middle stage a silly goose as a reference to the golden egg laying goose in the story. I really like goofy Pokemon, but I thought that the final stages should look mildly serious, so I made this guy as goofy as possible. At level 16, Browt will evolve into Root Goose. Thanks to its leafy eyebrows, its neck grows at incredible speeds. In this region, people often compare to see whose Root Goose has the longest neck, as this symbolises how strong and healthy it is. And for its final evolution, I made it look much cooler. I made a lot of sketches, I mean a lot. I just couldn't make it look right. And when it started looking decent, I realised its face looked very similar to Quaquaval's, so I decided to scrap it and start all over again. Luckily, eventually locked in and got what might be my favourite of the bunch. It's hard to say as I'm really happy with all of them though. As I mentioned earlier, I based it on the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. So I wanted its neck to represent the beanstalk and have some feathers around its body that look like clouds. Didn't want to make it a flying bird, so I grabbed some inspiration from the cassowary. Mostly its distinctive crest, which in this case resembles a little castle on its head, this being a reference to the castle on top of the clouds where the goose and the giant reside. At level 36, Root Goose will evolve into Castlewary, the beanstalk Pokemon, and a grass and rock type. Castlewary towers above the land with its beanstalk-like neck, using its long reach to survey its territory. Its horn, shaped like a castle turret, can unleash powerful strikes to defend its domain as it's very territorial. However, this will often degrade its tower-like crest, so it will often bury its head underground for it to absorb the soil's nutrients and regenerate it. As for its hidden ability, I decided to go with Rock Head, as it literally has a rock on its head, and it could work well with this type combination as I imagine it learning Wood Hammer and Head Smash. Stat wise, it's a physical attacker with good speed, but lacking defenses. And that is all for today. Hope you enjoyed my predictions. They probably won't look anything like this, as Game Freak, for better or for worse, always ends up surprising us. But before I leave, I would like to thank my members for helping support the channel. Thank you Redclaw87, Pokédex Fillers, Dre Tats, Sensaki Farrell, Stanley Pop Gaming, and Lisa Alderson. Anyway, thanks again for watching until the end. For those of you who are new here, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe, and I really recommend you check my channel. I'm currently working on creating a whole region based on Hollow Knight Silksong. Anyway, I'll leave a list of the series here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.